Hi, I'm Caroline Weilert, Vice President of Marketing at ValleyCrest Landscape Companies. I'm sitting with Ed McMahon. He's a Senior Resident Fellow at the Urban Land Institute, and we're going to talk today about the future of planned communities. Thanks for sitting down with me.
Great to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Great. I'm going to just go ahead and ask you a few questions.
Okay,
the first one is, if you agree the issue is what we build versus where we build, how can we shift future development into more cohesively designed neighborhoods and communities?
Well, first I want to say I think we've done a fairly good job already with master plan communities. I think we saw that today with discussion about Irvine Ranch. But I do think we can do better, and I think that master plan communities in the future are going to probably be somewhat different. I think they're going to be smaller because there's not a lot of 93,000 acre tracts left, except in a few places like California. You're going to see more urban master plan communities. They're going to be more complex. I think another big change going forward is you're going to see more partnerships. And typically in the past we've seen master plan communities where you had a landowner and a developer. The developer went through the entitlement process and it took them either a short time or a long time to get that project up and running and entitled. I think in the future you're going to see partnerships between landowners and developers, but also with anchor institutions and government playing in there. And I say anchor institutions because we really need to think about job creation going forward. The distance between where people live and where they work will matter more in the future. And so having jobs in the center of master plan communities is going to become more important than ever. I'll just give you an example of what I think about. The largest research park in the United States is the Research Triangle in North Carolina. It has 140,000 people and almost 700 companies there. But there's no mixed use, there's no housing, they have a terrible traffic congestion problem, etc. They want to introduce mixed use, but master plan communities are the kind of places that could have avoided that sort of issue, where the employer becomes the driving force in the master plan community. Another thing that I think we're going to see is master plan communities are going to be greener and more sustainable. And in particular, I'm interested in the role of food and agriculture going forward. Food has played a relatively small role in master plan communities in the past. I think it's going to play a much bigger role in the future. And when it's about having a farm as part, or agriculture of any kind as part of a master plan community. It's about more than growing vegetables. It's about growing community. Talked to a developer of a master plan community in Hawaii recently who spent over $100 million on a clubhouse, spa complex, athletic complex, etc. Spent $1 million on a farm, which he said has had a greater impact on the way people relate in that community than almost any other thing. So getting more bang for your buck and thinking about things like food going forward, I think are going to be real important.
That's great. That sort of ties in with my next question a little bit, which is, do you believe it's possible to plan community, and what's essential for creating community in the next decade?
Yeah, I think in the future, the software of communities is going to be more important than the hardware of communities. By that I mean, really it's going to be about programming, and I think you can create community, and I think master plan communities have a good record of doing that, but I think it's going to be less about the buildings themselves, although that's important in the way how we design and what we design and how we arrange what we design. All that is important, but I think what the most important thing is going to be sort of the soft programming and allowing opportunities for interaction. It's things like schools in the middle of master plan communities where kids can walk to school. And I think one of the things that master plan communities do that sort of ad hoc development doesn't do, it really gives residents more choices. So I always like to say to parents, would you rather live in a community where your children have to be driven to school, or would you rather live in a community where you could drive them to school if you wanted to, or they could walk to school or ride a bike to school or take the bus to school? Which one gives you more choices? And I think master plan communities are really about giving people more choices in an increasingly diverse world.
That's great. Well, thank you so much
Good,
for taking
okay.
the time.
Yeah.
That was terrific.
So good, okay.
Have
Thanks.
a good rest of the day.
All right.